If you don't know where you are, how will you ever know where to go? Think about it. If someone asked you for directions, the first question would always be the same. Where are you starting from? Because without a starting point, every direction is meaningless. Success is predictable. It's not luck and it's not magic. It's hard work and discipline. But discipline only works when it is pointed in the right direction. And direction begins with honesty. Many people dream about success. They dream about more money, more freedom, more opportunities, a better future. But they skip the most important step. They never stop to ask themselves, where am I right now? Not where they wish they were, not where they pretend to be, but where they truly are. Because progress always begins with truth. Knowing where you are can be uncomfortable. It requires honesty. It means asking questions like, am I disciplined enough? Am I using my time wisely? Am I growing or drifting? You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. And direction changes the moment you see your reality clearly. Life has two paths. You either drift or you design. Drifting is easy. Days pass, weeks pass, years pass, and suddenly you wake up wondering how you arrived where you are. You don't drift into success. You drift into failure. Designing your life is different. Designing requires awareness. Designing requires intention. And it starts with knowing your current position. Every great journey begins the same way, with a moment of clarity. A moment when someone looks at their life and says, this is where I am, and this is where I refuse to stay. That moment is powerful, because once you see clearly, you cannot go back to sleep. Success doesn't begin with talent. It doesn't begin with opportunity. It begins with awareness, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, knowing your habits, knowing your direction. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job, because the person you become determines the life you live. So today, I want you to pause for a moment. Step back. Look at your life honestly, not with judgment, but with clarity. Because once you know where you are, you can finally start moving toward where you want to be. And that is where our journey begins. Every great journey begins with a single step. But before you take that step, you must answer an important question. Where are you? Not where you wish you were, not where you pretend to be, but where you truly stand today. Because the starting point of all achievement is self-awareness. For things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. And you cannot get better until you understand yourself honestly. Let's be honest for a moment. Looking at our lives closely can be uncomfortable. It forces us to see things we might prefer to ignore. Maybe our habits are weaker than we thought. Maybe our discipline isn't as strong as we imagine. Maybe our progress has been slower than we hoped. But avoiding the truth does not change reality. You cannot change what you are not willing to confront. The person who refuses to look honestly at their life also refuses the opportunity to improve it. Successful people ask themselves difficult questions. Questions like, how am I really using my time? Am I growing each year or simply repeating the same year again and again? Are my habits helping me move forward or quietly holding me back? These questions require courage, but courage is the beginning of progress. The greatest challenge in life is becoming who you are capable of becoming. And becoming more begins with seeing clearly. Imagine setting out on a long journey without a map. You might move quickly. You might work hard. But if your direction is wrong, your effort won't take you where you want to go. Life works the same way. Many people are busy, but not effective. They work hard, but without direction. Don't mistake movement for progress. Self-awareness gives you direction. It tells you whether you're moving towards success or simply moving in circles. When you become aware of where you are in life, something powerful happens. You stop blaming. You stop waiting. You stop hoping someone else will fix things for you. Instead, you accept responsibility. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Self-awareness shows you the influences shaping your life, the conversations you allow, the habits you tolerate, the environment you live in. Once you see these clearly, you gain the power to change them. Self-awareness is not only about identifying weaknesses, it also reveals strengths. Maybe you are more resilient than you realized. Maybe you have skills you've been underestimating. Maybe you have opportunities you've overlooked. Your income is directly related to your philosophy, not the economy. Your philosophy, how you think about life, shapes everything. And self-awareness helps you refine that philosophy. Ignoring reality may feel comfortable in the short term, but in the long term, it is expensive. Without awareness, mistakes repeat, opportunities pass, time slips away, years go by, and one day a person wakes up wondering why their life hasn't changed. Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you cannot get more time. That's why awareness matters today. Not tomorrow, not someday. Today, the moment you clearly see where you are, you gain something priceless. Clarity. And clarity brings power. You now know what must change, what must improve, what must stop, what must begin. Clarity eliminates confusion. It turns dreams into plans. Let me share a simple practice. Take time regularly to evaluate your life. Ask yourself, am I becoming stronger or weaker? Am I growing or drifting? Am I living intentionally or accidentally? These questions keep you awake. They keep you aware, and awareness keeps you moving forward. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job, because when you improve yourself, everything around you improves as well. Success does not begin with opportunity. It begins with awareness. You must know where you are before you can reach where you want to go. Self-awareness is the compass of life. Without it, you drift. With it, you navigate, and once you know your true position, you can begin the journey toward a better future. Once you know where you are, something powerful becomes possible. You can begin to adjust your direction, because knowing your position in life is not the end of the journey. It's the beginning. You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. And direction is everything. Let me share something that changed my life. My mentor once told me, Jim, if you want things to get better, you have to get better. Simple words, but powerful words. He didn't tell me the economy had to improve. He didn't tell me circumstances had to change. He said I had to change. And that idea changed the direction of my life. Think about a ship crossing the ocean. Just a small shift in direction can completely change the final destination. 1 degree today can mean hundreds of miles tomorrow. Life works the same way. Small adjustments today create massive differences later. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. When you become better, your direction improves automatically. Many people recognize where they are in life. They see the problems. They see the limitations. They see the patterns, but they never adjust direction. Why? Because adjustment requires discipline. It requires changing habits, changing priorities, changing the way you spend your time. And change is uncomfortable. You don't have to rebuild your life overnight. You just have to make small course corrections. Read a little every day. Spend less time complaining. Spend more time learning. Surround yourself with people who challenge you. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Small disciplines, repeated consistently, create powerful results. Your habits act like a compass. They quietly guide your life. If your habits move you toward growth, your future becomes brighter. If your habits move you toward comfort and distraction, your future slowly shrinks. Take care of your habits, and they'll take care of your future. That's why direction matters more than speed. You don't need to move faster. You need to move smarter. Adjusting direction requires courage. Sometimes it means leaving familiar patterns. Sometimes it means letting go of old excuses. Sometimes it means admitting you were wrong. But that courage leads to growth. For things to change, you have to change. When you change your thinking, you change your actions. When you change your actions, you change your results. Let me remind you of something important. Progress is not automatic. You must choose it. Every day you choose whether to grow or drift, whether to improve or remain comfortable, whether to move forward or stay where you are. The major reason for setting goals is not what they get you, but what they make of you. Goals help you stay on course. They remind you where you're going. Your future is not determined by yesterday. Your future is determined by today's decisions. The adjustments you make now will shape the life you experience later. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Without discipline, direction fades. With discipline, direction becomes destiny. So here's the truth. You may not be exactly where you want to be today, but that's not the problem. The real question is this: are you willing to adjust your direction? Because the moment you do, your future begins to change. Small adjustments today become extraordinary results tomorrow. If direction determines your destination, then habits determine your direction. Every day, whether you notice it or not, your habits are quietly shaping your future. Small actions, repeated daily, over weeks, months, and years. And those small actions eventually become your life. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. But here is the truth many people overlook. Failure works the same way. A few small errors in judgment, repeated every day, can slowly lead you in the wrong direction. Think about it. Your daily habits determine how you use your time, how you develop your skills, how you manage your energy, how you shape your mindset. And over time, those habits begin writing the story of your life. Take care of your habits, and your habits will take care of you. The challenge is that habits rarely feel powerful in the moment. They feel small, insignificant, almost invisible. But over time, they become unstoppable forces. Many people want better results. They want better income, better health, better relationships, a better future. But they rarely stop to examine the habits creating their current results. Instead, they blame circumstances. They blame the economy. They blame their situation. Sometimes they blame other people. But the truth is simpler. You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. And direction begins with habits. If you truly want to grow, you must take an honest inventory of your habits. Ask yourself simple questions. How do I start my mornings? Do I invest time in learning and improving? Or do I spend hours distracted? Do my habits move me closer to my goals or quietly pull me away from them? Work harder on yourself than you do on your job, because the person you become determines the results you achieve. Let me give you an important idea. Small habits may not change your life today, but they will absolutely change your life eventually. Reading 10 pages a day may seem small, but in a year, you will have read thousands of pages. Learning one skill at a time may seem slow, but over several years, that skill becomes valuable. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. The disciplined few understand this principle. They respect the power of small daily improvements. Unfortunately, habits can also trap you. Bad habits often feel good in the moment. Procrastination feels comfortable. Distraction feels easy. Avoiding discipline feels harmless. But over time, these habits quietly shape your life in the wrong direction. What is easy to do is also easy not to do. And that's the challenge. The actions that create success are often simple, but they require consistency. Here's something important to understand. You don't simply remove habits, you replace them. If you remove a bad habit without replacing it with a better one, the old pattern eventually returns. Instead of wasting time, start learning. Instead of complaining, start planning. Instead of drifting, start designing your days. Either you run the day or the day runs you. Successful people run their days intentionally. Over time, habits shape more than results. They shape identity. If you consistently read and learn, you begin to see yourself as a learner. If you consistently practice discipline, you begin to see yourself as disciplined. And identity changes everything. The greatest value of discipline is what it makes of you. Success is not only about what you achieve, it's about who you become. Your future is not determined by luck. It is determined by habits. The small actions you repeat every day are quietly building the life you will experience tomorrow. So examine them carefully. Improve them intentionally. And remember this principle. Success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Master your habits, and you will begin to master your life. Now that you understand your habits, and now that you know the direction you are heading, it's time for the next step. That step is correcting your course. Because knowing where you are, and even knowing where you want to go, means nothing if you fail to adjust your direction. You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. And the sooner you adjust, the better. Too many people wait for disaster before making adjustments. They drift into failure and then panic when it's almost too late. Financial problems grow. Relationships deteriorate. Opportunities vanish. Don't let your learning lead to excuses. Let it lead to action. Waiting for the perfect time only delays your progress. Life does not wait. Time does not wait. And once years pass, regret becomes heavy. Correcting your course early is the key to avoiding unnecessary pain. The good news is that corrections do not have to be huge. Shift your habits slightly. Adjust your schedule. Change how you spend your energy. Invest a little more time in learning. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. A small shift today can lead to a dramatically different life in a year, in 5 years, or in a decade. Remember the ship crossing the ocean? Even a 1-degree adjustment today can mean hundreds of miles of difference tomorrow. Here's a truth few people embrace. Knowing your course is not enough. You must take action. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Action transforms awareness into progress. If you are spending too much time on distractions, redirect your focus to what matters. If your habits are not producing results, replace them with ones that do. If your relationships drain you, create boundaries that protect your energy. Awareness without action is like knowing you are in the wrong car, but never turning the steering wheel. Course correction requires discipline. It's not easy to change direction. Old patterns resist. Comfort fights progress. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Discipline is doing what must be done, even when you don't feel like it, even when it's inconvenient, even when nobody is watching. With discipline, course correction becomes manageable. Without it, old habits will pull you back. One of the most powerful tools for course correction is feedback. Feedback comes in many forms. Results you are achieving, advice from mentors, observations from peers, your own reflection. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. Pay attention to feedback. Adjust your approach. Repeat consistently. Correction is not a one-time event. It is a continuous process. The longer you wait to correct your course, the harder it becomes to recover. Habits become entrenched. Mindset becomes rigid. Opportunities pass silently. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Better today is worth more than perfect tomorrow. Immediate adjustment is the difference between a life of regret and a life of purpose. Here's a simple framework to start. 1. Evaluate where you are. Be honest, not judgmental. 2. Compare with where you want to be. Identify gaps. 3. Identify small actions to adjust your direction habits, routines, mindset. 4. Implement consistently. Don't wait for motivation. 5. Review regularly, refine, adjust, and continue forward. The major reason for setting goals is not what they get you, but what they make of you. Goals guide direction. Action corrects it. Discipline ensures it stays corrected. Correcting your course is not about perfection. It's about awareness, action, and consistency. It's about seeing clearly where you are headed and taking the steps necessary to reach your destination. Success is predictable. It's not luck, and it's not magic. It's hard work and discipline. The sooner you adjust, the sooner your life begins moving toward the results you deserve. And when you take control of your direction today, you create a life that no longer drifts and a future you no longer fear. Now that you have looked honestly at where you are, examined your habits, and adjusted your course, it's time for the final step. Designing the future you truly want, because awareness and correction are powerful. But without a plan for the future, they only take you part of the way. The major value in setting goals is not the goals themselves. It's what you become by achieving them. The person who designs their future intentionally becomes unstoppable. Here's the truth most people avoid. When you see where you are, you also see where you aren't. You see the gap between reality and potential, and that gap is not a reason to despair. It is a doorway. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Knowing the truth allows you to act intentionally. It allows you to decide exactly what life you will build. Designing the future begins with a clear vision. Ask yourself, who do I want to become? What kind of life do I want to live? What will I no longer tolerate? What will I embrace every day? Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Your vision becomes the destination, and your discipline becomes the bridge. Without vision, even corrected direction loses its power. A designed future is not built overnight. It is built one day at a time. Every choice you make either moves you toward your vision or away from it. Every habit either reinforces your future or undermines it. Every thought either empowers you or weakens you. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. The difference between the average person and the extraordinary one is the daily commitment to live in alignment with their vision. Designing your future requires more than knowledge. It requires full commitment. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. When commitment becomes identity, you no longer wonder if you will follow through. You simply act. The person who is committed to growth does not wait for motivation. They rely on discipline, standards, and a clear vision. Designing the future is not just about results. It's about who you become along the way. Challenges will come. Mistakes will happen. You will face moments of doubt. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. Use every challenge as an opportunity to grow. Every mistake as a lesson. Every doubt as a test of discipline. Your future is built not just with knowledge, but with resilience, perseverance, and consistent action. Knowing where you are and what must change is powerful. Correcting your course is necessary. But the greatest power lies in intentionally designing your future. Success is predictable. It's not luck, and it's not magic. It's hard work and discipline. Decide today who you want to become. Decide what you will no longer tolerate. Decide what habits, actions, and influences will shape your life. Take action every day, consistently, and without compromise. Because when you design your future after knowing the truth, you do more than survive. You thrive. You grow. You become unstoppable. Remember this. Know where you are. Adjust your direction. Build the habits that matter. Take action every day. Success is predictable. It's not luck. It's hard work and discipline. Your future begins now. Don't wait.